Intelligence doesn't protect you from bad thinking. We all know someone brilliant, straight A student, trivia god, human calculator, who still manages to make decisions so baffling, you start wondering if common sense is inversely related to IQ. Spoiler, it might be. Smart people doing dumb things isn't just irony, it's a psychological phenomenon. Psychologists even gave it a name, dysrationalia. That's when someone has high intelligence but makes irrational choices anyway. Like a Ferrari with no brakes, fast, sleek, impressive, and totally capable of crashing spectacularly. Today, we're unpacking why intelligence doesn't always mean better decisions, and how smart minds can be the best at fooling themselves. Psychologist Keith Stanovich coined the term the intelligence trap, the idea that intelligent people often make poor choices because they're intelligent. Why? Because IQ tests measure logic and knowledge, not rational thinking. Stanovich once gave Harvard and MIT students a simple math riddle. A bat and a ball cost $1.10. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much is the ball? Most answered 10 cents, which is wrong. The correct answer is 5 cents. These were elite students jumping to the intuitive but wrong answer. Intelligence doesn't shield you from cognitive shortcuts. Sometimes it just makes you better at justifying them. Being smart doesn't make you bias-proof. If anything, it makes you a master debater for your own blind spots. Take confirmation bias, the tendency to cherry-pick evidence that supports what you already believe. Smart people often become expert lawyers for their bad ideas. Need proof? Look at Theranos. Brilliant investors and top minds believed in Elizabeth Holmes, even when the tech didn't work. Why? Because they wanted it to work, and smart people are really good at convincing themselves they're right. Then there's overconfidence bias, thinking you're right just because you're smart. Studies show that experts are often more confident in their wrong answers than regular people are in their right ones. One study compared an economics professor to a zookeeper on predicting market trends. Guess what? The zookeeper was just as accurate, but the professor was way more confident. Smart doesn't mean right, it just means confident. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman split thinking into two systems. System 1 is fast, intuitive, and lazy. System 2 is slow, deliberate, and rational. Everyone defaults to System 1. Yes, even geniuses. Because our brains are cognitive misers, we save mental energy whenever possible. So, a brilliant scientist might solve equations at work, then fall for a scammy crypto pitch at home. Or use gut instinct for big life decisions, because thinking deeply is exhausting. Even elite students fell for mental traps in Kahneman's studies. They weren't worse than average, but they weren't better either. And don't forget anchoring bias, where irrelevant info warps our judgment. Ask smart students if the tallest redwood tree is more or less than 1,000 feet, then have them guess. Their answers are way higher than if you'd first said 85 feet. Their brains latched onto the anchor, even if it was random. Sometimes intelligence actually makes things worse. In 1961, JFK and his cabinet of Ivy League powerhouses greenlit the Bay of Pigs invasion, a foreign policy disaster driven by groupthink. Smart people all nodded in agreement and silenced doubts. In the 1990s, Nobel Prize-winning economists led a hedge fund called LTCM that nearly crashed the global economy. Why? Overconfidence in their models. In 1720, Isaac Newton, yes, that Newton, lost a fortune in the South Sea bubble. He later said, "I can calculate the motion of heavenly bodies, but not the madness of men." Even literal geniuses aren't immune. So what's the antidote to smart people making dumb choices? Not more intelligence, not more books. It's wisdom. Specifically critical thinking, intellectual humility, slow thinking, curiosity, and skepticism. Smart people need to double-check themselves like anyone else, maybe more so. The best thinkers don't assume they're right, they assume they could be wrong and test that theory. So next time someone says, "But he's too smart to be wrong," remind them, so were Newton, Holmes, and half of Wall Street. Being smart isn't a force field against bad decisions. It just means you might be really good at rationalizing them. True wisdom? That's using your intelligence and questioning it. A wise man knows he knows nothing, and that ironically might be the smartest mindset of all.